Now, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for sticking with us right here on KBC Channel 1. My name is Aguko. It's a pleasure being with you today. This is Good Morning Kenya right here. And you're just in time for the next conversation of the day if you've just joined us. Today is the 13th of February 2023, and as a journalist it is a day that I personally celebrate because proclaimed in the year 2011, that's why 2011, the member states of UNESCO, that is the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, ensured that they had the World Radio Day adopted, and this was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 2012. Proclaimed in 2011 and adopted in 2012, where we had the first World Radio Day. Today, as journalists and as media practitioners, we celebrate the radios that we have world over. And of course, as KBC, we also pride in ourselves because at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, we take pride in what we have. Today, we talk about having two entities in our radio stations, public service radios that are 4 and public commercial radio stations that are a total of 11. I shall be mentioning that in a few, but as we talk about matters concerning World Radio Day on this fine Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to invite my guest joining me in studio. This is none other than the radio programs manager here at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Mary Daraja. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very nice today.
And how does it feel now? It's no longer the voice only, but now voice and picture, TV. I know the feeling is different.
Yeah, the feeling is different because in radio we used not to being seen, but we used to being heard. And we heard loud and clear. And you know, radio is a very powerful tool of communication. Yes, you understand that radio still rules. It is still the king, or do I call it the queen? Yeah, because everywhere you go, you'll find radio. Just click on your mobile, you'll find radio.
Yes.
Everywhere, you know, while driving, you listen to radio. You don't have to struggle. That's why radio will remain resilient. Radio will remain relevant.
Yeah,
even as technology changes.
And let's look at let's take a stock take of how far we've come within the industry of radio broadcasting, the steps you've taken. I know digitization has also played a very key role. Are you proud of where we are as a country in terms of radio broadcasting?
Of course, I am very happy because we have come a long way. Maybe you may not know that at one point we used to carry something called a Yuha machine. It was big, it was almost 15 kilograms and we'd use that to go and record. But because of technology, now we have, we just walk around with a smaller recorder to pick voices. And also the OB, the outside broadcasting equipment has also changed over time. It used to be huge, but now as technology changes, it's becoming smaller.
Radio has evolved.
Yeah, it has really evolved, and you realize that even with technology, you can now access radio anywhere, anytime you feel like accessing radio, you'll be able to access. And the most interesting thing about radio is it remains affordable. Yeah. Radio remains affordable, and even as we evolve, as technology changes, radio has remained affordable. Every family owns radio, and you can access radio anytime, anywhere, as you want to. And then another thing is that initially, you remember KBC was the first radio in Kenya when it was the East Africa Broadcasting Service. It started in 1927. So radio is as old as 1927 in this country.
Wow.
So TV came way later, but radio was here from 1927, and we started broadcasting in English, but at the moment we broadcast in 21 languages. That's why we have 21 channels. We have public service broadcasting, as you've mentioned, and we have have commercial, which we call commercial, but they broadcast in vernacular. Yes, okay. And you know, we try as much as possible and play our mandate. You know, our critical mandate is information and education, and then we also entertain. Yeah. So why do we feel like KBC has the best? It is because we broadcast to even the smaller, the ones referred to as indigenous tribes.
And I love what you said, because if you look at the public commercial radio stations, we have Shoro FM, Pwani FM, Nosim FM, Minto, Kitwek, Mayenga, Mwatu FM, Mwago, Ingo, 15, and we also talk about Ngemi FM.
Yes, our latest kid on the block.
That's our latest kid on the block.
Yeah.
And if KBC radio stations have evolved and grown over time, let's look at the latest child, our last born here, Ngemi FM. Yeah. It has managed to reach some milestone so far. Right?
Yeah, it's reached a milestone. You know, now when you go to Embu County, that is our target audience is Embu County. You realize that we're doing very well. We speak to the Mbere community, we speak to the Embu community, and they get information, as it were. And you know, KBC's. We as KBC, we are expected to communicate government policies, government programs, and promote national values, and also ensure that we have identity, promote identity, we promote our diversity. And that's why we've invested in radio, to ensure that we reach many people. And even as we speak about Ngemi, we have a station called Eastern Service.
Yes. So I was actually getting, so for Eastern Service, they fall under the public service radios.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Where we have Eastern Service and the Western Service.
Yes.
Okay.
So Eastern Service, we broadcast to the Buruji, we broadcast to the Turukana, we broadcast to the Borana, and we broadcast to the Rendile.
Wow.
There's no other radio station stationed in Nairobi that is broadcasting to this community.
Exactly.
And therefore they get real-time news from Nairobi. We prepare programs that are suitable to those communities, so that we make them feel a part and parcel of Kenya, not to miss out on anything that is happening within the country. And we have the Western sub-services. We have the Iteso, we have the Kuria, we have the Suba, and we have the Pokot. Wow. I know one may ask, the Pokot are among the larger Kalenjin community, but we have our own reason why we decided that we must have a Pokot station. It is because of the uniqueness when it comes to the Kalenjin community. You know where it is stationed, the environment within the Pokot community, that is West Pokot and East Pokot. It is slightly different from the larger Kalenjin community. And that's why and you know, even when you look at civilization, it reached them slightly late, and they also have unique needs. They don't have the same needs as the Kalenjin. Their needs are unique, and that's why we target that community to ensure that they get information, education, and we entertain them in a different way. We appreciate all communities in this country, and as we move forward, we are thinking of giving them each a station, a dedicated station, 24-hour, because right now we move slowly. As you realize, all these stations were once together.
Gathering them.
Yes, as we move forward and as technology changes, we are also trying to ensure that we cover every region.
Wow.
Yeah, and not just coverage, but proper coverage. That means that we prepare programs that suit those situations.
You localize content.
Sure, that is it. Yes.
You localize content
to fit the needs of the people in
that
those
particular
areas.
group.
Yes.
And we will be talking about that in a few, because I have so many questions in regards to how our vernacular stations are working.
Yeah.
But of course, ladies and gentlemen, on top of these, we mentioned among the public service radios, we have Western and Eastern services. We also have KBC Radio Taifa and KBC English service.
Yes.
We'll be talking about that in a bit. Sure. But I want to head over to KBC Radio Taifa. It is World Radio Day, and my colleague Doreen Arange is on the other side, and that is in radio, to give us just a snippet of what is taking place in the other side. And of course, as we talk about matters concerning the World Radio Day from her end. Doreen, over to you. All right. I'm told that she's preparing. Okay. All right. No problem. So once ako tayari, Fadhili, you will let me know. I know that matters concerning radio pia, the image is different.
Yeah.
When you put a face to the voice, sometimes you appreciate it. Sometimes you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah. You know, the sweetness with radio is that you know, people love your voice. They associate with your voice, and then now they come and meet you in person, and they're like, oh, so okay. I mean, for instance, when I was on radio, people thought that I was this huge human being, but now when I meet them, and this is a tiny.
They find a slender
and they're like, oh, I mean, that voice comes from you. Are you sure? Are you the one? Is it real? Yeah. But we enjoy that because, you know, radio gives you space to meet the real people. That is because it goes down to the grassroots, and that is where the real Kenyan is. And when they listen to you, telling them issues that affect them directly, and proposing solutions on how they can deal with problems that they are facing in that area, articulating government policies that would help them overcome the challenges that they face there. They relate more with radio. And as KBC, we have really tried our level best to play that critical role to ensure that our masses are informed for them to make informed decisions.
Exactly. And that's why we need to have this conversation. World Radio Day.
Sure.
And of course, I'm coming back to you in regards to that. Why should we celebrate? Why should we look at World Radio Day? Why should we have such kind of value instilled on a particular day like this? I'll come to you and you will tell me more about that, why it's important, why it's necessary. Okay, but I'm told Doreen is now ready. So Doreen, over to you. Tell us more about what's happening on your end. I'm aware you're at KBC Radio Taifa. Is Doreen ready? Fadhili? All right. Okay. I'm told that she's not ready. We apologize for that, but don't worry. This is the sweetness of live TV.
Sure.
Yeah, you see things as they are. So, Fadhili, when you're ready again, also cue me. You let me know about that. So, maybe World Radio Day.
Yeah.
Why is this day important?
This day is important because we appreciate, it's the day to appreciate the role of radio in the world.
Yeah.
Why radio? Why do we think radio is very important? Why do we attach so much importance to radio? We attach so much importance to radio because it is the one that reaches the masses. And its affordability is something that we need to celebrate. And its versatility is also something that we need to celebrate. You know, the good thing with radio is that anyone can listen to radio. They can sit in a group, or even when you're working on the farm, you can just place radio there and continue working. You don't have to sit down. To listen to radio. You continue with work as you listen to radio. When you're in traffic jam, what keeps you company? Radio. It will keep you company. You won't even feel the boredom of the traffic jam. When the government wants to reach everyone, who do they use? Radio. When you look at the campaigns that we do, health campaigns, even when the Kenya, for instance, Kenya Defense Forces or the security organs want to hire, it's radio, because it will reach that target audience.
Yes.
It will reach that youth who is looking for a job. And you don't have to struggle for you to get radio. So we celebrate radio because of its versatility. We celebrate radio because of the critical role it has played over the years. We celebrate radio because of its affordability and how it changes with technology. At one point, when we were transiting from analog to digital, it was thought that actually with the emergence of the digital platform, then radio was going to die. But we've just realized that radio is now even more powerful than before. Yeah, because now you can be able to see the people behind the microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah, the digital platform has given us another opportunity to celebrate radio, because now you would wish to see these people, but nowadays you see exactly what they are doing in radio, real time.
There's a way you connect with them.
Yeah.
And you feel like, you know what, so this is the man behind the mic.
Yes.
And these are the things that they are doing.
Yes.
And you think that, you know what, I thought it was such a complex thing until you get to see it on TV and you can associate with them.
Of course.
Yeah. Now at some point, there was this conversation, especially among journalism students.
Yes.
Is radio dying? Are we going to see the end of radio?
Radio will not die.
It
won't die. Because, you know, radio, as I've told you, as the technology changes, we change with technology. And you find that radio remains relevant. It's even as we have information overload, because of the online or the citizen, citizen journalism. You realize that people will still go back to radio. Radio ya KBC imesema nini? Yeah, if it is the government communicating and KBC radio hasn't spoken, then people will not believe it until KBC radio speaks.
The World Radio Day, very good event, fantastic day it is. But we have a theme.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a theme, radio and peace.
Sure.
Yeah, so what is the place of radio in ensuring that we are fostering peace in the country?
Radio and peace, it has come at the right time.
Yeah.
Radio plays a critical role when it comes to promoting peace. When you promote coexistence, promote the values of the society, and when we also promote diversity.
Yeah.
In a way, we are already talking to peace, that we appreciate each and every community residing in this country, and that we live in this country as Kenyans first, before even sharing our diversity. And the diversity we share is a rich culture of this country. We have cultures that we share, and when we learn from each other, the way we do things, cooking, the way of life, how we live, how we interact, how we grow up, and it is very interesting. So at this moment, I would say that radio has promoted peace over years, and whenever there is conflict, radio comes in very, very strong to ensure that people understand to appreciate each other, to capitalize on their strengths and not their weaknesses, to appreciate each other's culture and not for instance, to look at other cultures as inferior. We come in to ensure that people understand each other when it comes to politics, that we share. We are in a democracy, and in a democracy we have diversified opinion. And therefore, when we look at the diversified opinion, it does not mean that we hate each other, but it's because we are living in a democracy, and a democracy promotes divergent views. And whenever we have challenges, we have had challenges before, and we still have challenges in the Kerio Valley region. But through radio, we educate the people to understand why we should appreciate each other and why we should share the limited resources. And by doing that, by ensuring that we put peace messages on air, it will calms down the situation, reduces tension to ensure that people can now sit down and talk.
And especially, I'm looking at, we've come from an electioneering period.
Yes.
Radio played a big role.
Yes.
Especially in ensuring that Kenyans are at peace. Because you've seen in history where we've had discussions concerning how radio ensures that there is peace during elections. So yes, we have a role to play in terms of ensuring that radio plays a key role in communicating the right thing, the right values to people who are listening.
Yeah, if we use radio well, and that is why I'm telling you that we've used radio well to ensure that there is cohesion.
Yeah.
We ensure that there is national integration and cohesion. We went through an electioneering period last year in August, and throughout that period, radio put out there the right messages.
We did perform well during that period.
Yes, to ensure that people understand that it's elections, and after elections, the country must move forward.
Yes.
Yes, we have divergent views, we have our preferences, but even if the person you are supporting is not elected into office, appreciate the other person, because the other person who's been elected into office is also a Kenyan, and they are going to work for Kenyans.
Yes.
And actually people embraced that, and after the election phase, you know, we had campaigns, we ensured the campaigns were peaceful, we went into election, we broadcast the results from the constituency level to the national level. We were with the election process throughout, and when the matter moved to the Supreme Court, we were in the Supreme Court, and we ensured that Kenyans understood very well why we were moving from one phase to the other.
And it's on that note, I would like also to take note of the fact that even during tallying,
yes,
radio was having a live and factual data.
Yes.
Of what was happening at the tallying centers.
Yes.
Radio was actually collecting the voting.
You know how conflicts arise?
Yeah.
Lack of information and single story.
Yes. Yes.
So if radio doesn't come in, or media doesn't come in and give both sides of the story, then a single story will cause a problem. And that is what radio ensured, that you have information from both sides. Not sensationalized. KBC, we don't sensationalize issues. We report facts as they are. We ensure that we get both sides for us to be able to remain objective. Yeah, because if you only project one side, that means you're slanting, and you don't want people to know what is happening on the other side. So we project both sides so that now a Kenyan can make an informed decision. And on top of that, apart from news, we also do tailor-made programs that target the audiences to ensure that they understand well the issue at hand. And that's why when I look at Maje, we call him Maje, Leonard Mambo Botela, I am proud to associate with him. He's been here for a very long time. There are others that came before us. There are those that we are with. I celebrate each and every radio presenter, producer in this country.
Kudos to the
and world over, because we have done so well, and we continue working for the Kenyans, and we continue working for the world. You know, radio, when we look at radio, for instance, some of my radios are listened to outside this country.
Exactly.
Yeah, neighboring countries, Tanzania, Uganda. For instance, recently I was in Turkana, and they were celebrating a cultural event that brings together the Turkana, the Taposas of Sudan, some of the Ethiopians, and the Karamajong of Uganda. And they were asking me, you know, radio used to go further than the Karamajong area. Why? What is happening? I told them now, because of the change from medium wave, which was very powerful, to FM, which travels in a linear way. That's why you're not getting us beyond Karamajong, but they're getting us in Karamajong area. They listen to us also in Sudan, in Ethiopia, and they love what we do, and they say they learn so much from the Kenyan media.
Exactly.
And we have those who are abroad, in the US, in the UK. They get us through because we stream. They get us through the mobile phones.
I even love the fact that the way we did today,
yes,
a fusion of radio and TV.
I'm telling you, that is the best thing. Yeah.
You can listen to your radio on TV.
Yeah. You can listen to your radio on TV. Yeah. and you know, let me tell you, people love radio presenters because they just love their voices.
Exactly,
Sweet voices.
exactly.
Sweet voices. Yeah.
I want us to look into how we can be able to foster relations, especially within the media industry,
yes,
in terms of service delivery. There has been this conversation, and of course, this is still in commemoration with the World Radio Day. Conversations about who are we bringing on our radios, about the training of journalists, the training of those that are on the mics. They are trained. Yes. As a matter of fact,
yes,
they are trained. And I know you've had this conversation, and you've seen how Kenyans say, you know what, this person should not be on radio. Yet the fact is, even if that person is a comedian, they have been trained. They know how to go around matters concerning broadcasting in radio, and they have the information with them. Let's talk about that. How can we ensure that we instill training within the broadcast area so that we deliver good content that is informative, entertaining, and educative at the same time in regards to radio?
Yeah, training is a critical aspect, and what we just need to do is to tie some loose ends within the institutions that do training for radio personnel. But also the individual media organizations have a role. Yeah. Because when these presenters are trained out there, there are certain areas that may not apply within the institutions, but then they apply within the media stations. So what they need to do is that when the presenters or when new staff members are hired, then they have to be trained within the media house, and that's what we do as KBC. That's why we don't have so many problems.
Yes.
We retrained them to suit our needs.
Exactly.
To ensure that they follow the rules to the letter, because we have media ethics, and the radio has also its own rules. For instance, we ensure that they learn how to follow those rules in production, that is in program production, in technical aspect, and in news production, so that whenever we have a program, that program must meet the standards. And that's why KBC is here to set the media standards.
Exactly.
And we ensure that we follow the rules of the profession, so that we don't go outside and defame anyone, for instance, or put information out there that is not relevant to the people. So training is very critical, but the media organizations should not just put people on air before retraining them to suit their needs within the media organization.
And that's one thing that is a plus for KBC.
Yeah.
Because for KBC, we are not just doing things for the sake of doing it.
No.
There are people who have been approved. They have gone through the processes. So as a Kenyan, when you're watching or listening to your different radio stations, you should know that everything is all sorted out.
And that's why most of the time our presenters or radio producers have been poached, let me use the word poached, to work in the commercial stations, just to help them ensure that they are getting it right. They don't just take it because maybe of talent. We have a lot of talent, but they take from KBC because we have the best.
All right. I want us to bring that conversation to a close on that very good important
Before we close, I would like to wish everyone a happy World Radio Day. And for the radio personnel, just know that we appreciate you, we love you, and thank you for the good work you're doing, and continue doing that work.
All right. That is the radio programs manager here at the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Mary Daraja. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having this conversation. Very important indeed.